Welcome all of you. So today what we'll be discussing is something related to what we were doing previously, but a continuation of that. So till now what we have seen in computer applications is a bit of what limit equilibrium method is, right? And how we can actually use these softwares or the computer applications in form of slide software that we were using to simulate simple slopes or any kind of slopes that can be analyzed by this limit equilibrium method. We have seen tried to find different ways of doing that, right? We have seen how different materials can be imbibed. We have seen the probabilistic analysis, how it can be done. So both of these analysis we have done, the limit equilibrium method analysis and the probabilistic analysis. And we have also seen how different all kinds of outputs are achieved by both of these conditions. So in deterministic, we have seen how just a one factor of safety, that is the critical factor of safety or the least factor of safety circle comes up. While in the probabilistic analysis, we have seen how the least factor of safety comes up. But in addition to that, we have other data as like a probability of failure and the reliability index of the data. So considering that, we have covered quite a bit about the basic limit equilibrium based simulations. So when we do these field simulations like this, so generally the first basic step of simulation is about what we have learned till now. Why is this? Because most of the simpler slopes that do not involve complex joints, complex uh, other additional properties that we need in the later stages. So in those cases, a very easy and quick way to analyze the stability is this method that we have already learned. There is one concept that we I also want you guys to know, and that is called the sensitivity index. So today what we'll be doing is we'll be discussing something called the sensitivity analysis. So what it is, where it is used, and how it is applicable in our slope stability conditions or various other conditions in mining, such as when we do planning, when we do any availability analysis, or many other things like haul road survey, or even in considering which factors are affecting any of the processes that is carried out in a mining operation to what extent. So this sensitivity analysis is an important concept to know, and how we can do it in field or in using the resources that we have, computational resources that we have. So we'll be discussing that. So what it is, what it's all about, and what is the sensitivity index, how it is calculated, and we'll see some examples, some case studies of how it is done, and how we can do actually in the computational aspect of it. So we begin with what is a sensitivity analysis. So basically, sensitivity analysis, what it is used to determine the effect of any parameter, any input type of parameter over the output type of parameter. So for instance, I will say that let's say a rock is there, right? A rock is made of many chemicals. There will be a central matrix that will be formed out of a certain kind of material. There will be cementitious materials that will be binding that matrix. There will be some infilling material that will be filled in pores. There will be air or moisture, right? So there will be a lot of things. There will be cracks. There will be some disturbances in the rock, and that whole creates a single rock mass or piece of rock that we see in any of our mining or mining scenario, or when we go out of floods or anywhere. All these factors basically represent the overall properties of a rock. Now, if we say if we want to say that okay, uh, I want to find out what will be the change, suppose in the strength of rock, if I change a certain parameter, right? Like if I change maybe the moisture content of a rock. So what will be the change in the strength of the rock? Let's say that is the question that comes up. So how we decide that? What we can do is basically we can maybe start start first start how much water it is storing right now, right? That will be the first step. For doing that, we can measure the rock's weight right now and put it in oven and see the dry weight, and difference between the dry weight and the normal weight will give us the water content. And basically we will keep on increasing the water content by being some certain amount of water in that, certain measured quantity of water in that, right? And keep on increasing the water content of the material till the time it reaches a saturation state that will be the maximum amount of water that it can hold, right? And in each of these conditions, we can basically test the rock and find out its strength. That can be one way to do it, right? And and in that way, we can basically find a relationship between that. Similarly, for any type of analysis we do, we basically find relationships between certain input parameters and certain output parameters. Last class yesterday in computer applications, what we were seeing was some relationships were there which we saw between factor of safety and suppose cohesion of the soil or friction of a soil, right? That we were seeing, right? We were also seeing some relationship between cohesion and the friction of the soil. So there are relationships that we can see, and it these can be analyzed or these can be segregated and seen. However, what happens if there are many factors that are affecting any condition? Suppose a slope stability condition, like we were seeing in so many examples, right? So in a slope stability condition, there are so many factors that are affecting. I think most of you guys have attended those rock slope stability lectures. So you know which are the factors that are affecting, like what is the geometry, what is the angle of inclination, what are the properties of rock, how much cohesion is there, how much friction is there. So many properties are there, right? That are actually affecting the overall slope stability. Now, if I want to know, okay, tell me, is the rock is the stability of a particular slope more affected by cohesion or more affected by friction? Or maybe a question may be something like, is the stability of this slope more affected by the height of the slope or more affected by the uh, inclination of the slope? So these questions we can't just say, okay, this is higher, this is lower, or something like that, unless we have certain set of analysis values, right? And we also know that both of like many of these conditions are interrelated, right? Like an angle will be dependent on what is the height of the slope. Cohesion, or sometimes as yesterday we were doing, is dependent on the friction of the material, right? So that time, the analysis that we do basically to find out the individual effect of these parameters to the final output, like the final stability of the slope in this case. So that sort of work is called a sensitivity analysis. So when we talk about this kind of sensitivity analysis, when we talk about uh, the way it is way in which it is done, it basically tells us only the effect of individual variation of a single parameter. So when we say sensitivity of uh, slope angle on the overall stability of a slope, we are basically assuming that all the other factors are basically not affecting or not changing when we are actually analyzing that one parameter. So that is very important. So there are methods of sensitivity analysis that are important to understand, but more important is what is the concept behind it. So here we in the bottom side we see two graphs, and some on the y-axis this is showing the factor of safety. Let us assume this is a factor of safety of a slope, and on the x-axis we have some values. We don't know which ones, and we have some lines that are being represented here that shows its relationship. So on the basis of what kind of trend we are obtaining, we can actually give a good prediction of how sensitive a parameter on the left side will be, a parameter on the left side will be as compared to the parameter on the right side. So factor of safety, if I see just these two images, I may be able to say that, okay, in a very overview sort of way, maybe on the left side, the sensitivity of that parameter is much more as compared to that on the right side, which is almost quite getting flat except the first value. So this way, we know which are the factors that affect our stability most, and in that way, how that analysis can be done. Now, this is a graphical method, right? But there should be certain quantitative analysis also. So there is something called a sensitivity index. So that sensitivity index basically gives us a relative change in output with respect to relative change in input. So uh, suppose x, the x is a variable in the starting variable, maybe in terms of, if you just want to visualize it is in terms of slope stability, maybe it is cohesion. Let's suppose that. So if we start increasing the cohesion, how it will affect basically our factor of safety, maybe on the y-axis, that can be an example to understand that. So if the x parameter starts increase, what will be its effect on y? So based on that, x versus y, well, y versus x curves basically can give us that idea. But in quantitative sense, we basically do it by increment of a certain fixed amount of variables on the x-axis, and finding out how much increment or decrement or whatever change it is with respect to those increments on the output or the y-axis that we are seeing here. So the simple formula is basically the relative difference y2 minus y1 over y0. So if at a central position, the mean position, it is y0, or the x value at the center position gives you a y0 value at that position, the difference can be, the sensitivity index can be found by y2 minus y1 over y0 divided by the change in the x. So there are two differences, so delta x, right? So 2 delta x by x naught. And since x naught, delta x can be given by this one, so basically so sorry, यहाँ पे 2 आना चाहिए, there should be okay, there should be a 2 here. I think that's uh, 2 here. I think that's, uh, That's something wrong. So 2 delta x can be x2 minus x1, right? Because this is the delta x in between this limits, right? So x2 minus x1 can be replaced, and this is the very easy formula to basically give us a sensitivity index of any type of parameters or any works type of situations that is there. Good thing to remember is if we want to is that there are two things that will come out of it. There may be some value like suppose in this case it will be uh, if this is maybe suppose this is 5, right? Okay. If this is 5 and let's suppose this is also 5 and this is 6, this is 5.5. So we are seeing that y2 minus y1 is a negative and x2 minus x1 is a positive. So this will come in a with a negative sign. Suppose 1.25 or whatever the value comes up. Let's just say if it is like that. So you see there are two components, as I say, the sign and the value. So both of these have significance. The value basically gives us the quantitative measure of how much sensitive a parameter is. So if we just see the sensitivity, the higher the value part of the sensitivity index is, the higher the output will be affected by that. So if I say that the sensitivity index of the inclination angle in a slope is 2.5. So, and the sensitivity index of the cohesion is 1.8. So I can directly say without any thinking, any other condition that the rate or the rate of effect or the weightage that the inclination has on the factor of safety is much higher as compared to cohesion of that material. So these kind of analysis, when we do and when we find out the sensitivity index, we actually can understand which are the parameters that are affecting the final output more and which are the parameters that are affecting the final output to a lesser extent. Why this is important is because that will help us decide which are the parameters that we have to take care of more. If in case we want to uh, maybe we want to control or stabilize the slope or any similar condition in any other aspect also. So if like suppose the efficiency or the productivity, uh, let's say we are monitoring a dump truck, and in a dump truck there are many factors that basically are affecting the fuel efficiency. Maybe how much distance it has between the dumping site and the loading site, right? How much average load it carries in each cycle, what is the path it takes, and other mechanical parameters like which speed or which gear the driver or the operator basically keeps on working, and uh, maybe the wind direction, maybe the inclination of the haul road, and so on. So many factors will be basically deciding what is the fuel efficiency of that dumper. And to understand which factors are affecting it more, we can do a sensitivity analysis of this kind. So that what that will give us that, okay, I understand now that the load is the sensitivity of the this fuel efficiency is much more towards the how much loading is done as compared to how much distance it is. So when we try to optimize that I want to increase the fuel efficiency of a dumper, in that case, I would actually stress more on higher sensitive parameters. So I will stress more on maybe reducing or adjusting the load that it carries in each step. So that kind of work we do by sensitivity index or sensitivity analysis study. Now let's move ahead. What I wanted to show you are few case studies that I was involved in, so that will give you an idea of how easy it is or how useful it is. So this first case study is actually my paper which I did based on the work on my bachelor's. So in BTech, my BTech final year project was this related to this, and on the basis of that, my BTech report, basically this was published. So here what we did was there was this kind of dumping that was going on in Giant Coalfields in Northern Coalfields Limited, NCL and CIL. So what they do is basically when they do an open cast mine, this lower you can see, this is the original coal seam, right? And when they mine it out, they have to put the overburden and dump it on the backside and keep on moving, leaving some small coal ribs here. You can see these coal ribs are basically uh, unmined coal, and they keep on leaving that basically in order to uh, provide additional sort of stability to these dumps, which was also disastrous, as I will be telling you later. So what happened was in one of the heavy rainy seasons, these dumps basically started getting a lot hydrostatic head that was being developed, and due to these the property of the coal that is mined there, it was basically not allowing any water to seep through. So that was basically creating a heavy water head on heavy hydrostatic head on the dump side. Basically, it started increasing the hydrostatic head, and a situation was reached that this coal rail failed. And due to this failure, uh, the work that was excavation work that was going on in this transportation route and the dumpers that were there, few of them got buried. Even the impact of this whole dump failure was so much that the coal rib that was failed here actually got crushed into the other side, and significant amount of time was taken by the authorities to actually understand what happened and where did the coal rib go. So that was a previous kind of method that they used to do, leaving coal rib to basically stabilize this dumps. Nowadays they don't do that because they have seen certain accidents. So this accident took place in 2008. So we went there and found what is the situation, and we started the work. So this analysis in this paper basically finds what is the stability of these dump slopes based on many conditions like the slope angle, right? The height of the dragline dump, the height of the main dump that was there, the height of the coal rib, the seam angle, if that is the seam is inclined, right? So what is the angle of the seam and so on. So if you see what we did was we basically used finite element method. So like right now we are using limit equilibrium method to demonstrate that. We used finite element method, and these were all the parameters that we saw that how things are changing. So slope angle was there, one of the properties, the height of the internal dragline dump, that were the small dumps that you are seeing, this ones, right? And then number of dragline dumps, height of the main dump, inclination, base width of the coal rib, height of the coal rib. So coal rib dimensions were taken care of, and the material properties. So material properties, you are aware, like cohesion, friction angle, right? Density, so and of coal as well as the overburden material. So there were certain geometrical properties, right? and certain mechanical or the material properties. So this kind of condition will always be there when we analyze these kind of slope. There will be some both kind of conditions that we have to take care of. In limit equilibrium, this slide software, what we are doing is basically we are defining the geometry by ourselves in the first part, right? So all the geometrical conditions are already given, but the material properties we have to feed for each material. So that is given in separately. So we give all these properties initially for any slope, and on the basis of that, these kind of analysis are done. So what we found out was this kind of, I think it's, yeah. So this kind of finite element model was done. This on the right side, you can see a main dump that is there, and some small diagonal dumps that are there. And we simulated a cool rib on the leftmost part, you can see. So this was inclined at certain inclination that was also given because the coal rib was inclined, coal bed was inclined. So on the basis of that, we wanted to see how these variations basically affect the overall factor of safety, right? In this condition, finite element method, there are different ways of finding factor of safety. We'll be discussing that when we reach that topic. But what I wanted to show was what we did and how the sensitivity analysis was calculated done. So in this, there were 8, like I was saying, there were some geometrical and there were some material properties. So total 8 changes were made, 8 or 9 changes were made, and these were the variations. So gradient of the seam was changed from 1 to 7 degrees, right? And all these cohesion values, friction values, height of the dump, and so on. All of these values were basically changed from certain their actual present values that we obtained from the lab analysis to certain variations on the positive and the negative side. So you will be remembering how these are very close to probabilistic analysis that we done. There also we were giving some variations, right? But in place of doing a probabilistic analysis where we basically go for overall factor of safety or the probability of failure, we are trying to find out how each and every parameter, just the change of individual parameters affected. So in this case, how we did was we basically changed each of these parameters, and we found for each case what is the factor of safety. So this was a tedious work that we had to do, right? We had to change for so many basically models were made, right? So like 1 to 7 variation with a difference of maybe 1. So that means 7 models here, right? 7 models here and 10 models here, 10 models here, some maybe 5 का variation होगा, so 10 models here. So almost like 100 models we actually made and analyzed each of them for their factor of safety. After 100 models making, we basically started matching them with their each individual variation. So if the gradient of the seam changes, how the factor of safety changes. If the height of the dump, dragline dump changes, how the factor of safety changes, and so on. So you can see if the dragline dump height is decreased, increased, the factor of safety decreases. That was very intuitive, right? Similarly, for the seam gradient, if the gradient increases, the factor of safety will decrease. Those things are intuitive, but to what degree, that we had to find. So all this analysis was done for each and every parameter, and we found out for each parameter we found the sensitivity index. So sensitivity index was found in this fashion. And so if this, you see how the grading is done, it is basically done on the basis of what is the value. So negative value doesn't mean it has low sensitivity. It just basically, as I said, it means which direction it goes. So it is negatively affecting it or positively affecting it. So if we increase the friction angle of dump, obviously there will be a higher factor of safety, and it is affecting it a lot. So highest sensitivity was found to be for friction angle of dump or the dump material. So that was very high. And similarly, very high was obtained for the height of internal dragline dump. So if the internal height increased, in those cases also it was highly affecting and negatively affecting the factor of safety for of this condition. So this kind of gives us an idea of how things are actually seen. Now you see, number of dragline cuts do not affect almost is 0.05 is even less than 0.1 sensitivity index. So it is comes in very low category. Now when we do post failure planning or post failure redressal, why these values will be useful is now we know which are the factors or which are the parameters that we have to focus on in order to basically prevent any sort of future accident. So we were basically seeing how the number of dragline cuts or the height of main dump, basically these factors did not affect the overall sensitivity or overall stability of that right now. So we didn't bother about those, but we were really concerned about how much high the internal dragline dumps are. So that had to be critically monitored that, okay, this is the limit beyond which we should not go. And internal dragline dump and slope of the internal dragline dump. So high and very high and medium, these were the conditions which we had to take care of. So that is the whole concept behind the sensitivity analysis, that how much it is affecting and with to what extent it is affecting. Now you see in the cohesion and friction, these are all affecting to certain degree, and to this was done I think in 2010 this analysis was done, and that time we were not that aware of these simulation techniques, so we were using that finite element method, but we were not used to the very good tools that are actually applicable, which would have actually reduced this work to a lot. So we in this work we basically made like 100 or 150 these models, and then we analyzed each of them separately. So it took a lot of time. Now, how does before going to other these studies, I want to show why this is being taught in computer simulations. I could have taught it in Rockslope, but why I want to put it in computer applications is right now we have certain tools to do this kind of analysis. So so the whole exercise that was done in this paper, the whole variations, so many variations were taken and each of them were analyzed, each of them were simulated and analyzed for their factor of safety, and all this relationship was done. Half of this work can actually be done by the software that we are using right now. So I will show you how this is done and what all we can get. Let me start with a small demo of that. So these days, that sensitivity analysis part we can do in slope stability analysis. Slide software for slope stability analysis. So let's very quickly, maybe we can draw a slope that is 60 meters, maybe 60 meters tall. A small berm is there, and similar to yesterday what we did, we will make a 2-bend slope and finish it off here. Right. We make a material boundary, so material boundary can separate the base. Right, and we create a second material. Very good. Now, what I wanted to do is, so basically, if I want to do a sensitivity analysis in this, what I want to do is, in place of geometrical variations, I want to see what will happen if the material properties change. So if I define the materials here, and suppose this is dump material again, right? And let's say this is 20, this is 35, and uh, this is 18, right? And we can change the color. And the material too, we basically has base that will be having a good strength. So let's keep it as infinite strength. And the color can be on the lines of dark color, okay, whatever. So let's assume this is the our slope. And what we want to do right now is we want to basically understand uh, how each time when I change cohesion, the the factor of safety will change, or how each time I change unit weight, uh, the how the factor of safety will change, or the phi if I change, how the factor of safety will change. So a traditional way, as we were seeing in this case study, was to basically make different models. If I want to vary it from maybe 30 to 50, what I will have to do is maybe take two increments of 2 and uh, uh, maybe make like 20 more models for just a variation of cohesion, right? So I will have to save 38, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, and so on till the time for cohesion. Then I have to do the same for phi, and then I have to do the same for unit weight. So maybe around, I'm still seeing if I want to do the same analysis for just this one material, I may have to do something like uh, uh, 30 or 40 more models. And on the basis of that, I will get data from each of them, and maybe I'll plot an Excel or something like that, right? In place of that, doing that whole tedious job that we did that time because we were not aware, or anyways, but now this can be done by a very good tool that is available in this. In the statistics part where we did the probabilistic analysis, we have this sensitivity analysis. So we will, as I was saying, the sensitivity analysis here, we can actually do the same thing, but now the software will take care of it. Now, what I want to do is if we go into the statistics and we go into the materials, see the material statistics, now I can again give the properties. Now I add the material, and if I go for just the dump material and want to see the variations in uh, cohesion phi and unit weight. So it gives me uh, these kind of sort of variations that is there. Now, here it doesn't give me a distribution, because the distribution that we were seeing yesterday on the probability distribution part, we don't need here, because we want to basically vary the each of the parameters one at a time. So that this kind of sensitivity analysis where we vary it one at a time is called OAT, or one at a time approach. So OAT approach is the most popular way to do it. It basically, for all the other parameters, it keeps a mean value, but for that single parameter, it changes the value at that analysis part. So if I give maybe relative minimum, I go for I want to vary my cohesion from 20 to 60. So I will give it a value of 20 here, and a maximum value also of 20 here. So minus 20 to plus 20 basically goes for 20 to 60. So when it is varying cohesion, when the software is varying cohesion, basically it will take care that others values are only adjusted at mean. So that ways, if the the effect of other parameters that change do not get imbibed in the single parameter variation. So that is a useful approach when we do go for a sensitivity analysis in OAT, or one at a time approach. Okay. So similarly, we can give for phi. We can maybe vary from 28 to 40 or similar. So 28 is like 6. No, it's 5, 6, 7. 28 is minus 7, and we want to go for 40, so it is 5. Now here also it's easy because whatever we want to, from which range to which range, we can easily give here. So unlike probability analysis, we don't have to take care about any standard deviation or anything that is there. Just give the maximum and minimum values in terms of relative minima and maximum. Unit weight, let's vary it from 16, so minus 2 to 26. So 26 is 8 more, right? So 8. So that's it. That's what we had to do. Let's click OK. Let's create the surface options and do the auto gridding, auto refine gridding part. That creates the automatic grids to basically create new centers as per algorithm, right? What else we have to do? Anything else? Let's check. In analysis, that's okay. Maybe we can put more methods. And groundwater, we don't have to take care. Statistics, we have already done. Yeah, that's it. Okay. And we are not loading anything. We are not, we are given the material properties, statistics, that's it. Let's save this. And after saving it, we can start the computation part. It is computed. Now you see, it will do a general interpretation that is there. So a 1.29 or 1.3 factor of safety is the least factor of safety by Bishop simplified. If we go for jumper corrector, it is 1.8286. So good enough result. But what we are interested in is the sensitivity analysis. So if we go to the statistics, we can get a sensitivity plot. Now what I want to do is basically plot between the jumbo corrected and want to see what will happen with the variation of cohesion. So if you see, now basically what the software has done is it has varied my cohesion from 20 to 60 in 50 intervals here. And on the basis of that, it has found out what is the factor of safety with respect to those variations, keeping the others at a constant mean value. And this is very important and point here that these all variations are basically I'm getting automatically. I can actually plot others as well. Let me try to plot others. And you see how these variations are there. So the unit weight basically doesn't give a linear sort of, it has a curvilinear, a negative curvilinear effect. And we have basically varied it from different levels. So now if because I have changed, because I have plotted different values, it is not giving the exact number here. It is just giving the variation. So 0 to 100 is the variation, 50 is the mean, which was given. And on the basis of those variations, you can see how factor of safety is changing. Now, the good thing here is because it has basically normalized our X value, this graph is very representative of how sensitive a parameter is based on its slope. So the lower the slope is, the lesser the sensitivity is. The higher the slope is, the higher the sensitivity is in a linear way. But you see this, even if you consider the green one, that is the phi, it is also non-linear. So it is also increasing with respect to the relative increase. So that also we have to see. Now, all this, so basically it has done 150 simulations in a single way, and that gives us a good idea of how the sensitivity changes. What we can do is, in order to calculate the sensitivity index, we can basically either plot it in Excel. So all the data will be plotted and we can actually find out the effective trend line. So because these are plotted, we can make a trend line. Mostly it will be linear, and we can find out its equation. So display equation. Now y equals to mx plus c, it basically gives us okay, there will be this problem that because it is plotting against the percent of range, so that won't be a representative uh, sensitivity index. So what we can actually do is, because we have found out no, this gives all the percentage range. So let's not do that. Let's go for individual plots, because that's what gives x-axis the actual values. So let's say if it is a dump material, done, right? And dump material cohesion, if we plot in Excel, so it gives us something like this, a single plot with the dump material on x-axis, actual values, and the factor of safety on y-axis. Now we can simply add a trend line, and we can display its equation, right? So equation basically is y equals to 0.012x plus 0.8. So 0.012 right now will be representing the y2 minus y1 over delta y, y2 minus y1 over y naught, and x2 minus x1 over x naught. So this will give us the sensitivity index value. This also can be done by manual calculation if we want to. So that also can be done. That's okay. And this will keep on changing, because in non-linear part as well, this sensitivity will change with respect to where we are seeing it. So for example, if we go for this one, unit weight, and if we plot it in Excel, so a linear fitting won't be a perfect fit in this. See, but still it will be quite representative of the average value. So an average sensitivity index can be found here, or you can basically write a similar formula of because these variations are same. So basically a formula of y2 minus y1 over y naught, right? So let's do that. Let's make y2 minus y1 over y naught. We had what? What was its mean? This is unit weight, right? So we took a mean of 18. So we can take a mean of 18. And x2 minus x1 over x naught. So this minus this over, what is the value of x naught in that case? 18. So it has actually very close to 1.28, right? 1.28. Yeah, let's take that. So we basically found the sensitivity index as this one. And this can be extended because it will keep on changing. It's a curvilinear path, and we can actually find the average of it. So for each one, this takes between these two and finds the sensitivity index at each case. So this is how we do a very basic sensitivity index calculation. But with the use of this software, what happened is it basically reduced our effort of making each and every change in each variable separately, and in place of doing a single model calculations, it has already done like 150 models for us already. So that becomes easy for material properties. However, for geometry, we have to do a separate analysis. There are methods to basically change slope angle and so on, but that are generally not very much applicable. So for geometrical variations, we may have to actually every time change the effective angle and the slope and do that analysis. So till now, I have not basically found a good way to uh, automate the geometrical sensitivity analysis. But yeah, at least in this software, we have a good facility to do that for material properties, and especially very useful when we have different layers of different materials. So that time it becomes very useful. So let's stop here for today. Today's lecture was basically dedicated to how the sensitivity analysis is there, done, what it is, and how we can use the software for easing our work and doing the sensitivity analysis for material properties. If you guys have any questions, any comments, you're welcome to present right now. Next class in CAM, we will be seeing about what is the effect of water loading, external forces, and maybe possibly a chance of how the stabilization works or how the bolting works and how it can be basically improves the factor of safety of the whole slope. So we'll be doing that on Thursday. Today, what I will do is, today I will be giving you this software in a cracked format. Now, do remember you keep, when I give you, I will give you some instructions as well on how to basically install that. And I think there will be instructions in the file as well. But yeah, do that. There are some cracks that you have to copy paste there. When you install this and when you open this slide, basically go to help and go for tutorials. Some of the classes actually that we did were based on those tutorials, though I didn't use exactly those. So when you go for slide tutorials, you have so many tutorials that are there, right? How to basically start it, how to make new materials and loading, non-circular failure, water pressure, and so on, probability analysis and all. So you guys can go through it, and when you have this clicked, you have a detailed, step-by-step instruction on how to do which option to choose, what to feed, and so on. So these tutorials are very useful to learn this software, and I would suggest you learn this software as well as the next one that we'll be learning for finite element method. Very useful softwares, very applicable in our field work, and especially whatever projects you will be doing. If you are anyways close to rock mechanics or slope stability or anything related to that, that will be very useful in future as well. So we'll do that today. We'll send you guys that crack and do install and do have a try on that. On Thursday, we are planning to meet by 9:30 again. We won't be meeting at 8 o'clock that time. But from 9:30, we'll continue till maybe 12 if that is okay with all. And we'll actually do it together. We'll do some working of water as well as loading and unloading and stabilization work in this flow. Till that time, you can also try this software out. At least you get a hands-on experience on what it is, how it feels, and if any problem is there, we will sort that out at that time. Okay. So that is it from me. If any questions are there, please, you're welcome to ask. So when I give today's software, do try out what we learned. Do try out how normal stability analysis is done. Do try out the probabilistic analysis and the sensitivity analysis. Do some trial and errors. It's a good thing to play with and a good tool to learn. So any sort of practical situation basically can be easily simulated. Basic simulations can be done and analyzed. So do play with it, do learn, and let's meet on Thursday then. Okay. Thank you very, very much. You have 5 minutes, so the stage is open if anyone wants to ask anything. Otherwise, you are free for next 5 minutes before the next class, which is by Jayantu sir. Okay. And Sahu sir. Cool. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for coming. I hope any of these things will be of interest till now. And next, I think when you have a hands-on with the software, that will be much more intuitive. So see you guys then.